Okay. DF2 read CSV. We're going to read data, HR analytics. Okay, so HR analytics. I'm going to copy the name and paste it here so I don't make typos. Okay, and then let's look at DF2. Okay, so it has 15,000 observations and 11 variables, and it brings in okay. So it has some values which are not. Okay, so if you go into DF2, you'll see that there is some problem with the data, right? So you go in and open the file, and you see that here is the problem. So the first 14 rows are no good, or oh, it's good, but we don't want, that's not part of the data. So let's close that and say skip 14. Okay, so now we have the data. Okay. Now you see that the date has come in as character, and these have come in as double. Number project, which should be integer, that has come in as double as well. Okay. Whether an employee has left the company or not, which is 0 or 1, has come in as double, and so on. Okay. So what read R has guessed is not good, and we want to change that. Okay. And the available column specifications, there are several ways of doing this. Okay. One is to use the column type. Remember call types. So here, of course, the C should be lowercase. We can use the call type option. Okay. Call types equal to. All right. Now the call type codes, okay, or I think we discussed this in a previous, in chapter 5, if I remember right, maybe not. But the, you can, it's like D for double, L for logical, D for date, and so on. Okay, and if you Google, you'll get the list of codes that we want. And then there is question mark for if you don't know what it is. So here it is. So here it is. Okay. So L for logical, I for integer, D double, C for character, F for fixed set of values, and uppercase D for date with locale format, and so on. Okay. So for each column, we can specify what the column type is supposed to be. Okay. And you have to do this within quotation mark. So if you do question mark, okay, and okay, let's see what the, so we have satisfaction level. So let's do question mark, question mark, question mark, and I. Okay. So that covers the first 4 columns, right? If you run, Now you see it's still character. Okay, so this is double, but the number project has become integer. Then of course we didn't say anything about the rest of them, so the rest of them are guesses. Okay. Now you can go ahead and continue with this, all right, and set a data type for each column. Okay. So you could do that, and so let's look at, so that's your inferred column types are not correct, then you use this, all right. No, I'm going to move this up. You can also set column types in this way. Okay. Let me get that. Okay. So now instead of saying column types like this, okay, so if you use call types, then you have to specify with single letter codes for the column type, right? Now you can instead use calls and calls only. Okay, so you can say calls equal to, not equal to, sorry, calls will be, so you're not going to use call type, right? Calls, okay, and then you can specify, so you have the names. So now when you use calls, you have to indicate whether the column names are to be read from the first row. So you have to specify call names equal to true. Okay. So call names is equal to true, so the column names are going to come in from the top row, right? And then we have date. Now you can say call, then you say date should be this type, right? Call date time. Okay, so that's a read-or function. That's where you parse the date, right? And then you specify the format code for the date. Okay, so you go back and look at how the date is. So the date here is 2-digit month slash 2-digit day slash 4-digit year, right? So the code for that, okay, of course this code has to be specified within quotation mark, and so this is, we saw this in Python too. Remember, percentage, and then you specify the code for that particular date type. For 2-digit month, so it is lowercase m, and then there is a slash after that, and then percentage %d, all right, there is another slash, and then percentage small lowercase y is 2-digit year, uppercase y is 4-digit year. Okay. Now, well, this will only change that one column is changed to proper date. The rest of them are guesses, right? Now you can say, all right, I want to I want to include more than just that date within this calls function. So I want to say number what? Okay, number underscore project. Where am I? Okay, there. Number underscore project, right? Equal to, we want integer. Okay, integer is I. Okay, I. And then left. Okay, left is a variable that represents here. See, left is, right now it's coming in as double. Okay, left is 0 or 1 for whether the person has left the company or not. This is an employee file, right? So left will be L for logical. Okay, and then we leave the rest as is. So run that, and then you can check. See, number project coming in as integer, and then left is coming in as logical, true or false. Okay. Okay, so calls, and then there is another function which is calls only. Okay, I'm going to copy that. So now instead of calls, if you use calls only, okay, so then the columns that you have specified are the only columns that will come in to the data. Everything else will be omitted. So calls only. Okay, the rest of the syntax is similar to calls. Okay, you either use calls or calls only. Calls will bring everything in, and then it will set the call type as you have specified within the parenthesis of calls. If you do calls only those columns will come. So now you see df2 has only 3 variables: date, number project, and left. Okay, so calls and calls only. Okay, let's try one more. Okay, and that would be, I haven't checked this out. So salary, say we want salary to be a factor, right? So salary factor is F. Okay, and salary comes in as factor. Okay, you can also, after reading the data, you can also use as factor to set a variable into factor. For example, so let's change this to calls, so everything will be in, not just calls only. Okay, so now you have everything there. So df2, let's see, we have sales. I wonder whether, okay, so sales is, there are other departments in sales. Okay, but sales right now is a character column. Okay, now you want to change that to a factor, right? So we can use, okay, df2 sales, okay, is as factor DF2 sales. Okay. So now if you go and look at sales, it is a factor now. Okay.